AITA for telling my fiancé to get over himself? I'm engaged to my fiancé, Sam, 41, and we're getting married soon. I will say that he was married before and had a 13-year-old son who passed away 4 years ago. Let me tell you, he is still pretty much grieving. Not judging him for that, but his grieving can and will cloud his thinking sometimes. We're currently in the wedding planning phase. He asked that we reserve a chair at the venue for his deceased son. I was dumbfounded when I heard this, but he said that he knows his son will be there for him spiritually, and he'd like to reserve a seat for him out of respect and to make him feel included. I tried to be gentle because this seemed insane and told him we can't do that because guests will be asking questions and will think he's mentally unstable. I asked him to let go of this idea, but he offered a compromise by leaving the last chair in the very back empty so no one will notice. I felt uneasy and asked him to just let it go, but he kept bringing it up, saying he gets a say since it's his wedding and his son was and will always be family. I had a fight with him, telling him it's my wedding too and I don't people to laugh at us. He said I have nothing to lose if I say yes and that I'm being selfish. I snapped and told him to get over himself, and he got quiet suddenly and stopped arguing, then shut down completely. I then heard him sob while he was smoking outside and refused to speak to me. Didn't even let me sit with him. He has been like this ever since the fight and has been avoiding me. I could have blown this out of proportion, but I thought his request will weird out many guests and make our wedding a laughing stock. Editing to add that I didn't think that such thing was common. I admit that I should have handled the conversation better, but the guests I was referring to are my male cousin. They're terrible and make fun of everything and take every opportunity to turn an event into a laughing stock. I can't keep them from attending because they're family, but at the same time don't want to give them a chance to hurt Sam's feelings or make rude comments. I love Sam and sympathize with his struggle, but I feel like he's being dismissive of my feelings and thoughts. YTA, leaving a front row seat open at the ceremony and having an in-memory table with some pictures of loved ones you wish could attend at the reception are both very common wedding practices for people who have lost close family members. YTA unequivocally. A huge gaping one. He lost his child. You don't get over that. You made him sob over a chair. Think about that for a minute. The way you're approaching this is disgusting. You're the one that needs to get over yourself. If I were him, I would be calling the whole wedding off. The disrespect is unreal. YTA. No one is going to think he's mentally unstable or insane. That's all in your head. It's quite common to have EMTY chairs for this reason. If you place a photo on the chair, it's clear what you are doing. They are usually in the family section where they belong, not as an afterthought in the back. Interestingly, you felt only your fiancé's age was relevant here. Given you care more about people laughing at you than your fiancé's very valid feelings, perhaps you shouldn't be marrying him. The only clouded judgment here is yours. You are the one who needs to get over yourself and stop caring about what other guests might think. I'd be very surprised if he marries you after this. He deserves better. YTA. A massive one. Like, couldn't be more of one. He should not only get his empty seat at the very front, but there should be a photo of his son in that seat. He will always be a father, and the fact that you're trying to erase his son from an important day in his life and belittling his feelings is a really big indicator of how the rest of his life with you will be. I hope he sees that before it's too late for him. You are right about his grief clouding his thinking sometimes. He must have been totally clouded over when he agreed to marry you. You come across as a very cold-hearted, self-obsessed person. You don't deserve him. YTA. YTA. A wedding is about both of you. He offered a comprise. You're putting your foot down. Why? What he wants is harmless and also really sweet. Guests will be asking questions and will think he's mentally unstable. I don't people to laugh at us. So, don't invite Oz to your wedding? I'm sorry, but given how callous you're being, I'd be surprised if there even is a wedding now. YTA. Majorly. They've been at multiple weddings where an empty chair was reserved for a deceased loved one. There's no reason any guest will make fun of you or think he's unstable. It's not going to ruin the aesthetic of your wedding. 'Cause that's what you seem to be worried about. Secondly, how dare you try to invalidate his grieving? He lost a child, for gosh sake. Shame on you. Edited formatting. YTA. He will grieve forever. It won't ever end. Now a chair empty is a common practice at weddings as a memorial. I did it for my mother years ago. But let's just say it wasn't common. You are busting his balls over a freaking chair? His feelings mean nothing to you and you're concerned with how it would look that your husband is honoring his deceased son? It looks caring and loving. If I were him, I'd seriously rethink this wedding. That is how my future wife felt about my feelings on my loss of my child. You are a special kind of cruel. YTA. Wow. Never seen an easier one on this sub ever. I have never seen anyone post on this site who was more of ta than this. YTA. That is a beautiful way to have his deceased child still included in the wedding, and everyone who would laugh at that or think him mentally unstable should not be someone you want at your wedding. Anyway. My mom died a few years ago. At my wedding I had a little table set up besides the chairs our other parents were in, with her photo on it and some flowers. Many guests, including people who never even met her, told me how special that was. How lovely and meaningful. It's been a few weeks and people are still commenting on how lovely it was. I can't think of a single person who'd think badly of a person for doing that. Oh, except you, of course. You have bought into a very toxic mindset that to show any kind of emotion is to be thought of as mentally ill. You look down on your fiancé and think less of him for mourning his son. But honestly, you should look at him and be so proud of this amazing, generous man who loved his son so much that he wants him to be there as he marries you. If you have kids with this man, he'll love them so very dearly. He's already showing that quality. But if you keep acting like he's being ridiculous for loving his son and wanting to show that, then I fear he will call the wedding off. His future wife is telling him he's ridiculous for wanting a token of his beloved dead son at his wedding. And honestly, I think you'll break his heart over this. He's crying outside, his heart is breaking. Please, please, find some empathy before you lose this man. Imagine if it was your dad's son. Dead mother. Dead father. YTA. YTA. This is super common for Jews, so just floors me that someone would be so callous. It is a way to symbolically remember the person and have them there. You made your fiancé cry over not being able to include his child in the only way they could. No offense. This is awful. I hope you seriously sit down and think and realize how bad this was. Otherwise you may end up with no chairs or wedding. YTA. Until you lose a child, you don't get to judge. Pack your bags, because I'm betting he rightfully drops you over this. YTA. When I got married, we had a table with pictures of our grandparents that couldn't be at the wedding, and a note saying, "In honor of those watching from heaven." No one told us it was weird. And honestly, if someone had, I would have asked them to leave. We didn't need that kind of energy at our wedding. YTA. Are you an idiot? Reserving seats for past loved ones is a common tradition for weddings. Also, wow. You told a dad to get over his dead son. Wow. I wouldn't be surprised if he became your ex. The person who needs to get over themselves is you. You really need to see a therapist to help you understand your fiancé's grief, and to deal with your anger so that you never again yell at someone who is grieving. And what kind of friends and family do you have where anyone would laugh at having a memorial chair? 100% YTA. YTA. Are you kidding me? What a wonderful idea your fiancé had. He could print and frame his favorite black and white photo of his son and place it on a chair in the front row. Next to his best man are his parents. It's a beautiful way to include the memory of his son in a really important day in his life. He should think seriously if he wants to marry and/or have children with you. If this is how you feel about a dead child. YTA. It's one single stupid chair. Just put something on it. If anyone asks about it, say, it's a homage to his son. You need to get over yourself. YTA. And if your friends and family would laugh at someone for this, then they are Oz too. There is nothing weird about what your fiancé wants. In fact, it seems very fitting given the circumstances. The fact that you wouldn't gladly do this and think it's weird says a lot more about you than it does about your fiancé.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.